I learned the hard way that some people don't just break your heart when you leave them. They break your entire life. My name is B, at least that's what I'm calling myself here. I'm 23 years old, and I'm using an alias because even now, even after everything, I'm terrified of what might happen if the wrong people figure out who I am. I'm writing this from a state correctional facility, wearing an orange jumpsuit I never thought I'd see myself in, living a life that still doesn't feel real. I need to tell you this story because it's the only thing I have left that's truly mine, the only truth in a world that decided lies were more convenient. 2 years ago, I was normal, completely, boringly normal. I was 21, working as a junior marketing coordinator at a mid-sized firm in the city. I had my own apartment, nothing fancy, a studio in a decent neighborhood, but it was mine. I went to the gym 3 times a week. I had friends I'd meet for drinks on Fridays. I was good-looking enough that dating wasn't difficult, but not so good-looking that I ever thought it would become a problem. I was ambitious. I wanted to move up in my career, maybe start my own agency someday. I saved money. I was responsible. I was the kind of guy parents would be happy their daughter brought home. That's probably why her parents liked me at first. I met her at a networking event. Her name was, well, I'll call her C. She was 22, beautiful in that effortless way some women are. Long dark hair, expensive clothes that looked casual but probably cost more than my monthly rent. Confident, funny, smart. We talked for 2 hours at that event. She gave me her number. We went on a date 3 days later. For the first month, it was perfect. She took me to restaurants I couldn't afford. She knew people everywhere we went. She was connected, educated, came from money but didn't act like it bothered her that I didn't, or so I thought. I found out about her father on our 6th date. We were at her family's house for dinner, and when I say house, I mean estate. Gated entrance, circular driveway, columns, the kind of place you see in movies. Her father was tall, silver-haired, commanding, the kind of man who walks into a room and everyone notices. He shook my hand firmly, looked me directly in the eyes, and said, "So, you're the young man dating my daughter." It wasn't a question. Her mother was elegant and quiet. Her younger brother barely looked up from his phone. Halfway through dinner, her father mentioned casually that he was a lawyer, not just any lawyer, a senior partner at one of the most prestigious firms in the state. He'd handled cases for politicians, celebrities, corporate executives. He had connections everywhere, judges, prosecutors, police chiefs. "I believe in justice," he said, smiling at me over his wine glass, "and I believe in protecting the people I love." I smiled back and said something forgettable, but I remember the way he looked at me, like he was measuring me, calculating whether I was worth his daughter's time. Things were good for a while. C and I fell into a rhythm. She'd text me constantly, good morning messages, check-ins during lunch, questions about my day. At first, it felt nice, attentive, then it started to feel like surveillance. If I didn't respond within 20 minutes, she'd send follow-ups. "Everything okay? Where are you? Why aren't you answering?" She started showing up at my apartment unannounced. She'd go through my phone when I was in the shower. One night I came home from drinks with coworkers and found her sitting in my apartment. She'd gotten my spare key copied without asking. "I just wanted to surprise you," she said, smiling from my couch. When I tried to talk to her about boundaries, she'd cry. She'd say she was insecure because she loved me so much. She'd apologize and promise to be better, and for a few days, she would be. Then it would start again. By month 4, I couldn't breathe. Every text felt like an obligation. Every plan felt like a trap. I started dreading seeing her, which made me feel guilty, which made me try harder, which made everything worse. I realized I didn't love her anymore. Maybe I never really had. I broke up with her on a Tuesday in September. I'd planned it carefully. I didn't want to blindside her or hurt her more than necessary. I asked her to meet me at a coffee shop near her apartment. Neutral ground, public, but quiet. She arrived on time, smiling, holding a shopping bag from some expensive store. "I got you something," she said, sitting down. "See, we need to talk." Her smile faded. "About what?" I told her as gently as I could that I cared about her but didn't think we were right for each other, that the relationship had become unhealthy, that I needed space. I didn't yell. I didn't blame her for everything. I tried to be kind. She sat there, completely still, watching me. When I finished, she didn't cry. She didn't argue. She just stared at me for a long moment. Then she said, "You're making a mistake." "I'm sorry," I said. "I know this is hard, but..." "No, B. I mean, you're making a mistake." Her voice was calm, almost emotionless. That's what scared me. She stood up, left the shopping bag on the table, and walked out without another word. I sat there for 10 minutes, staring at the bag. Inside was a watch, expensive, inscribed on the back, "To be, with love." I left it on the table. For 3 days, everything was quiet. She didn't text, didn't call, didn't show up at my apartment. I was relieved and worried at the same time. My friends told me I'd done the right thing, that she'd move on, that it would be fine. On the fourth day, I was at work when 2 police officers walked into the office. "Are you B?" one of them asked. My coworkers turned to stare. "Yes. Can I help you? You need to come with us." "For what?" "You're under arrest." I actually laughed. I thought it was a prank, some kind of mistake. It wasn't. They handcuffed me in front of everyone, walked me out through the lobby. My boss stood there, frozen, watching. In the patrol car, I asked what I was being charged with. Criminal threats, harassment, stalking, intimidation. What? Who's accusing me of this? They didn't answer. At the station, they put me in an interrogation room. I waited for an hour before a detective came in. He was older, graying, looked tired. "Do you know C?" "Yes. We dated. We broke up a few days ago. She filed a report. Says you've been threatening her, harassing her, that she's afraid for her safety. That's insane. I broke up with her. I haven't contacted her since. She has text messages, voicemails. She says you showed up at her house. I didn't. I haven't been anywhere near her." He slid a folder across the table. "These are the messages she provided." I opened it. They were real texts from my number, but taken completely out of context. One said, "I can't do this anymore." In context, I'd been talking about the relationship. In the report, it was presented as a threat. Another, "You need to stop." I'd sent that after she texted me 40 times in one day early in the relationship, asking me to respond. In the report, it looked like I was telling her to stop reporting me. There was a voicemail I'd left 2 months ago saying, "We need to talk about this. I can't keep living like this." I'd been trying to address her control issues. Now it sounded like a threat. Every message had been twisted, reframed, made to look threatening when they weren't. "I didn't mean any of this the way it sounds," I said. "These are normal relationship conversations. Her father is very concerned," the detective said. My stomach dropped. "Her father? You know who he is?" I did. Everyone did. That's when I realized I was already finished. I was held overnight, bail hearing the next morning. The prosecutor argued I was dangerous, a threat to C's safety, that I'd violated a restraining order I didn't even know existed. "She filed for emergency protection 3 days ago, Your Honor." The defendant was served and violated it the next day by continuing to contact her. "I was never served," I said. "I didn't know about any restraining order. Records show service was attempted at your residence. I was never home. I didn't receive anything." The judge looked at me like I was lying. Bail was set at $50,000. I didn't have $50,000. I didn't have $5,000. I called my parents. They drove 6 hours to see me. My mom cried. My dad looked like he wanted to hit someone. They couldn't afford bail either. I stayed in county jail. My public defender was a woman in her 40s, overworked, overwhelmed. She had 17 other cases. "This is tricky," she said when we first met. "The allegations are serious, and her father is, I know who he is." "Then you know this is going to be hard." "I didn't do anything." "That's what everyone says." "I'm serious. Every piece of evidence is being misrepresented." She sighed. "We'll do our best, but you need to understand, this isn't just about the evidence. It's about who's on the other side." She was right. The father hired a private prosecutor to work alongside the DA top tier, the kind of lawyer who doesn't lose. My public defender tried, but she was outmatched from the start. Pretrial hearings felt like formalities. The judge already seemed to have made up his mind. We filed a motion to exclude the text messages, arguing they were taken out of context and prejudicial. My lawyer wanted to present the full conversation threads to show what was really being said. The judge denied it without even reading our brief. "The messages speak for themselves," he said. Motion denied. My lawyer tried to call my roommate as a witness. He could testify that I'd been home the night C claimed I showed up at her house. He could prove I hadn't violated the restraining order I never knew about. "Irrelevant," the prosecutor argued. "The victim's testimony is sufficient." The judge agreed. My roommate was never allowed to testify. Every motion we filed was denied. Every piece of evidence we tried to exclude was allowed. C took the stand during a hearing. She cried. She said I'd made her feel unsafe, that I'd threatened her, that she was terrified of me. She was good, convincing. I wanted to scream that she was lying, but I just sat there, silent, because my lawyer told me to. The trial lasted 5 days. The prosecution painted me as obsessed, controlling, dangerous. They brought in her friends. They testified that I'd been jealous, possessive, that C had told them she was scared of me. None of it was true, but it sounded true. My lawyer cross-examined, but it didn't matter. The jury looked at me like I was already guilty. On the 4th day, my lawyer pulled me aside. "They're offering a plea deal." "For what?" "I didn't do anything. 2 years. Probation after 1 if you behave. If you take this a verdict and lose, you're looking at 5 to 7. I'm innocent. I believe you, but the jury doesn't, and they won't. I didn't take the plea. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, guilty on all counts. Sentencing was 2 weeks later, 3 years. The judge said I needed to reflect on the harm I'd caused and learn to respect boundaries. I wanted to tell him I'd done nothing, but it didn't matter anymore. C wasn't in the courtroom. Neither was her father. They'd already moved on. Prison is nothing like you think it is. It's loud and quiet at the same time, violent and boring, terrifying and monotonous. I'm in a low-security facility. Most of the guys here are in for drug offenses, theft, DUIs. When they ask what I'm in for, I tell them harassment. They nod like they understand. Some of them actually do. My ex did the same thing, one guy told me. Said I hit her, never touched her. But who's gonna believe me? No one believed me either. I've been here for 8 months now. I have 2 years and 4 months left. My parents visit once a month. My mom still cries every time. My dad doesn't say much anymore. My friends stopped writing after the first few weeks. I don't blame them. C blocked me on everything before I was even arrested. I heard through someone that she's engaged now to a guy from a family like hers. They'll probably get married at her parents' estate. I'll still be here at night when the lights go out and the noise finally dies down. I think about how easy it was. One conversation, one father with the right connections, one system that doesn't care about truth when power is on the other side. I didn't hit her, didn't cheat, didn't stalk, didn't threaten. I just left. And that was enough. I don't know what happens when I get out. I'll have a record. Finding a job will be almost impossible. Dating will be a nightmare. Who wants to be with a convicted stalker? My life was supposed to be starting. Now it's just numbers on a wall. Every morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. to the same bell. I cross off another day on the calendar I keep under my bunk. Small black X's, one after another, counting down to a freedom that won't feel like freedom at all. Sometimes I think about that coffee shop, the shopping bag still sitting on the table after she left, the watch with my name on it. I wonder if it's still there, gathering dust in some lost and found box, or if she took it back. Either way, it doesn't matter. My name is B. I'm 23 years old, and I learned that some people don't need to destroy you with their hands. They just need to know the right people.